First up, there's a shocking story coming out of Kenya. Reports say a talented Kenya athlete may have been deceived into joining the Russian military. Yes, you heard that right. Tricked. The details are still emerging, but it raises serious questions about exploitation and misinformation, especially around young athletes chasing their dreams abroad.
This time, Kenya has reacted to these reports. Nairobi has opened a probe into reports of Kenyans being trafficked to Russia and forced to fight against Ukrainian soldiers. Reportedly, they are now being held as prisoners of war in Ukraine.
Ви вирішили піти до українських військових?
Тому що коли я знайшов, якби я побіг до росіян, вони б мене вбили.
Next, a chilling case that's heartbreaking. A woman from Maryland has reportedly been kidnapped in Africa.
This past Saturday night, after returning from a club, she was drugged and kidnapped from her hotel after going to the lobby to get some tissues.
The next thing I remember, I'm in the back of a car. And I just start opening doors. I start panicking. I'm opening doors. I'm trying to get out.
She says a man was behind the wheel.
He's trying to pull me back in the car. I'm yelling, help, help, somebody help me. He's covering my mouth. That's where these scratches are from.
Moving to a more personal story recently.
I want to deal with these pimps behind the pulpit. These prostitutes that are going around and preaching as if they hold God's spouse, yet they're just race baiters.
Finally, deportation case of Mohamed Khalil.
Break this all down. The Louisiana judge says that Khalil did not disclose his internship with the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. Now, the U.S. had suspended funding to that organization because of allegations that staff were involved with Hamas in the October 7th terrorist attacks in Israel.
Your dream of medals, races, and a better future. So when an agent offers you the chance to run in international competition abroad, you say yes. But instead of a stadium, you end up in a war zone, wearing a camouflage, carrying a gun, and fighting in a war that isn't yours. Evans Kibet, a long-distance runner from Kenya, traveled to Russia early this year. He thought he was going for a race, maybe a shot at making it big in international athletics. But once in Russia, his tourist visa expired. Agents who had brought him in offered him a job to stay legally. Evans didn't speak Russian. He didn't understand the paperwork he signed, thinking it was a work permit.
Reports of African citizens being forced to serve on the front line keep surfacing every now and then. This time, Kenya has reacted to these reports. Nairobi has opened a probe into reports of Kenyans being trafficked to Russia and forced to fight against Ukrainian soldiers. Reportedly, they are now being held as prisoners of war in Ukraine.
Ви вирішили піти до українських військових?
Тому що коли я знайшов, якби я побіг до росіян, вони б мене вбили. Я не їхав до Росії для військової служби. Я поїхав туди як турист, щоб подивитися різні місця. Гарні місця. Я провів там 2 тижні. За день до того, як я мав повернутися до Кенії, хлопець, який мене приймав у Росії, запитав мене: «Еванс, як тобі Росія?» Я відповів йому, що Росія хороша. Він запитав мене: «Ти хотів би залишитися тут?» Я відповів «так». Ввечері він прийшов з паперами, написаними російською мовою. Він сказав мені, що це робота, яку він хоче, щоб я виконував.
But it wasn't. He says just hours later, his passport and phone were taken. Then he was taken to a military camp to train as a soldier. Evans says he had only 1 week of chaotic training, no real experience, no understanding of what was happening. Then he was sent toward the front lines in Ukraine. He claims he was later dropped in a forest near the battlefield, confused, scared, and unharmed. He wandered for 2 days before surrendering to Ukraine soldiers, pleading, "I'm a Kenyan, don't shoot." The Ukrainians gave him food and water and let him tell his story. Evans' story is a shocking, but it may not be unique. There are growing reports of foreign nationals, especially from African countries, being tricked or coerced into joining the Russian military, some through failed job offers, others through immigration loopholes or fake contracts. Some go willingly, others, like Evans, say they never knew what they are signing. Evans says he just wants to go home. His story raises difficult questions about how vulnerable people are being caught in the crossfire of global conflicts they never asked to be part of.
Kenya's Principal Secretary for Foreign Affairs has addressed the media reports. In a social media post, he said that Nairobi is working through its embassy in Moscow to verify the claims and to gather more information.
Next, a chilling case that's heartbreaking. A woman from Maryland has reportedly been kidnapped in Africa. Situations like this remind us of the dangers some people face. A woman from Maryland, Mika, just made it back home to the US after a terrifying ordeal in Tunisia, where she says she was dragged and kidnapped while on vacation. Let's be clear, this wasn't some sketchy ally at 3 a.m. She was staying at a hotel, went down to the lobby to grab some tissue, and that's when she believes she was targeted. She woke up in a moving car with a stranger at the wheel, locked inside, disoriented. According to her, the man tried to silence her, covered her mouth, even hit her. She had to fight her way out. And what's the response from the Tunisia authorities? Silence. No arrest. No suspects. No answer.
Was drugged and kidnapped on vacation in Africa and barely escaped with her life.
She's just gotten home, and tonight she shares her story with Bob Barnard.
I don't know what happened to me. I just know I was trying to fight. I was fighting for my life. A grown-ass man. I was fighting for my life. You know what I'm saying?
We met best friends Mika and Queen at Mika's home in Montgomery County. They just got home Tuesday from what was supposed to be another one of their adventurous week-long vacations, this time to Tunisia. That's in northern Africa.
It was traumatizing. Like even here, like now, like she got her own house, I got my own place. We stayed together. Like we still scared because it's like, I don't even know what happened. I don't know how it happened. I don't know if y'all.
Mika says this past Saturday night, after returning from a club, she was drugged and kidnapped from her hotel after going to the lobby to get some tissues.
The next thing I remember, I'm in the back of a car. And I just started opening doors. I started panicking. I'm opening doors. I'm trying to get out.
She says a man was behind the wheel.
He's trying to pull me back in the car. I'm yelling, help, help, somebody help me. He's covering my mouth. That's where these scratches are from. He punching me all right here. I don't know if thought he was going to knock me out, but I kept fighting. It was nothing. It had to be angels or something with me for me to, it's a grown man. He's punching me in my face, on my forehead, and both of my eyes. He's punching me. So I'm like, I just kept thinking I gotta get back home to my kids. Like, I just gotta get back home to my kids. So I just kept fighting. We're fighting. He's hitting me. We're going blow for blow. He's hitting me. I'm hitting him.
Queen was back at the hotel, the Penthouse Suites Hotel in Tunis. This is from its website. She says they were less than helpful.
And I'm running around the hotel looking for her. And like, bro, y'all want to tell me where she is? Like, what's going on? What's going on? And they started telling me like, oh, she left with this person, or she left with this person, or she made a friend. And I'm like, how can she make a friend? She doesn't speak these languages.
Mika has 2 black eyes, scrapes on her arms, and other injuries. She was able to get away and frantically make it back to the hotel.
All I could do was like go and try to get help and go downstairs and beg for help and beg for help. Like, please, y'all help me. She was hurt. Please help me, please. I have videos. They're like walking away. They like, this didn't happen here. We don't know what you're talking about.
They called the U.S. Embassy in Tunis and were soon met by embassy staff and local police. Mika sharing her story on TikTok and Instagram.
They really tried to kidnap me in Africa. I feel like they never expected for me to come back. I was not supposed to come back to the hotel. I was supposed to, whatever plan they had for me, God had another plan.
We've reached out to the State Department, the Embassy of Tunisia in Washington, and that hotel in Tunis, but haven't heard back from any of them. If we do, we'll let you know.
Where is the accountability? This is a tourist, a guest in your country. She is violently assaulted and abducted, and yet we have heard nothing meaningful from Tunisia law enforcement. That's unacceptable. Tunisia wants tourism. They want international dollars. But here is the truth. You can't promote your country as a travel destination if you can't protect the people who come there. What happened to Mika is more than a personal tragedy. It's a national disgrace for Tunisia if this goes ignored. Where is the investigation? Where is the embassy pressure? Where is the justice? Let me be clear. Travelers, especially women, deserve to feel safe. If this can happen in a hotel, it can happen anywhere. And if a country can't guarantee basic safety or even follow up on serious crimes, then people need to think twice before booking a flight. Mika is back home now, thank God. But how many others won't be as lucky? Tunisia, you have got a question to answer. And the world is watching. Moving to a more personal story, recently, Charlie Kirk's family has been under fire online. Regardless of political views, I want to emphasize the importance of respect and compassion when it comes to people's family. Everyone deserves privacy and kindness, especially when dealing with personal struggles or criticism. Let us focus on constructive dialogue, not attacks. In the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, something deeply troubling has occurred. Pastors and Christian leaders, some with great influence, have chosen to speak ill of him publicly, and even the pressure of his grieving wife and children.
I want to deal with these pimps behind the pulpit, these prostitutes that are going around and preaching as if they hold God's spouse, yet they're just race baiters.
I'm concerned about all of these Negro preachers who've been, in fact, talking about that this man that was killed was the answer to Christ in the earth. Y'all ain't saying that. They having moments of silence in black churches all over the country over a man that was racist and a white supremacist. How dare you compare him to Martin Luther King? The only thing that Charlie, Chris, and Martin Luther King got in common is both of them was killed by a white man. After that, they got nothing else in common.
I'm overwhelmed seeing the flags of the United States of America at half-staff calling this nation to honor and venerate a man who was an unapologetic racist.
Do you understand how you show your moral decadence? That as a preacher you can come up and oppose a man whose wife was there, children, their little kids were there when their father was gunned down, and still think you are a preacher. And if you're a Christian sitting in the pew and you're hearing all this nonsense happening and you keep quiet, you gotta leave that church. If your preacher comes out and begins to attack a man who was killed in front of his kids, forget about what he represented. Okay, to them, what he represented. To us who knew Charlie Kirk, to us who knew his organization, to us who were involved with his organization, we can simply say, that's a lie. The man was not a racist. You should be ashamed of yourself. How you celebrate death, a man's death? I couldn't even watch that thing twice. I couldn't. And I'm a prophet. But to look at somebody die, forget about the children being there or the wife being there. Just somebody dropping dead, and you go online and you preach a sermon to talk against a man like that who spoke about Jesus more than you speak about Jesus, represented Jesus more than you do behind your pulpit. Nobody's coming up with women that he slept with. You slept with a lot, sir. Divorced many, and you're still standing there. I make my mistakes. You are making your mistakes and continue to do so. Listen to this. When you make mistakes and grace is extended to you, better extend the same grace to others. Not that you are in your deep trouble, a womanizer, a prostitute, a pimp. Just all the preachings you guys are doing is to count the pennies so that you have another next paycheck. And you do it at the backdrop of our race, which is struggling to raise itself up. We have no leaders in the black community, and you come up and race bait and make people hate each other so that we can go to another level. And you say Charlie Kirk was actually for that. He was a race baiter. And what are you doing on the pulpit? Race baiting. How is your race baiting better than Charlie Kirk's race baiting? And that's what you claim, that he was race baiting, but we know for a fact. Let me show you this. You are too pro-black that you are now antichrist. Let me repeat this because you're not hearing me. Be careful that in your being pro-black, even the culture, if it is something that is opposing Christ, you will not see it. Because as long as it's done in the black community, you would think it should be respected by God. Go for God, not for your race. What does God say? What does God say? Full stop.
Let me say this plainly. That is shameful. It is not righteous. It is not bold. It is cruel. God's word is crystal clear on this. Rejoice with those who rejoice, and mourn with those who mourn. Romans 12:15. This is not the time for criticism. It's not the time for character assassination. It's a time for mourning, a time for prayer, a time for love. To those who have used Charlie Kirk's death as an opportunity to score points to take aim at his legacy while his family weeps, I say this in love: you have forgotten the mercy. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but proceed only what is helpful for building others up, that it may give grace to those who hear. Ephesians 4:29. Ask yourself, did your words bring grace to a grieving widow? Did someone comfort a fatherless child? Pastors, we are called to a higher standard. We are called to shepherd, not to strike. We are called to speak the truth in love, not in pride, not in bitterness, and certainly not in the presence of a family still in pain. Woe to the shepherds who destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture. Jeremiah 23:1. Whether you agreed with Charlie Kirk or not is irrelevant at this moment. His family deserves dignity. His children deserve peace. His wife deserves prayers, not public wounds. And God is watching how we treat the broken-hearted. The Lord is close to the broken-hearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalms 34:18. We cannot claim to represent Christ while we trample on his command to love one another. Finally, deportation case of Mohamed Khalil has sparked debates about immigration and justice. This case highlights the complicity many faces with immigration policy in human rights and legal system. Mohamed Khalil is a former graduate student and activist known for his involvement in pro-Palestine causes. Recently, a U.S. immigration judge ordered his deportation to either Syria or Algeria. This decision comes after the judge found that Khalil allegedly misrepresented facts on his green card application, specifically regarding his affiliation with certain organizations.
Next story we've been following since his arrest by ICE agents on March 8th. We have an update. An immigration judge is ordering the deportation of former Columbia graduate student Mohamed Khalil.
All right, lawyers for the pro-Palestinian protesters say they will appeal this decision, but it seems like a real possibility. Good day's Haley Fixler. She's here now with all these details. Haley, what's going on?
Good morning, Dan Tijani. Well, these court documents were just filed yesterday. The federal immigration judge says that Khalil hid information on his U.S. green card application, and she's ordering him to be sent back to Algeria or Syria. So let's break this all down. The Louisiana judge says that Khalil did not disclose his internship with the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. Now, the U.S. had suspended funding to that organization because of allegations that staff were involved with Hamas in the October 7th terrorist attacks in Israel. The judge also says Khalil failed to mention his relationship with an anti-Israel campus group called the Columbia University Apartheid Divest. Now, the judge wrote, quote, "The court finds the respondent's lack of candor and purposeful failure to disclose complete information to be significant negative factors." Adding, quote, "The court finds that the respondent willfully misrepresented material facts for the sole purpose of circumventing the immigration process and reducing the likelihood his application would be denied." Now, again, this all started on March 8th when ICE arrested the 30-year-old at his Columbia University apartment. The Palestinian, who was born in Syria, was arrested after leading the pro-Palestinian protests on campus. Federal officials have accused him of siding with terrorists and have called him a national security threat. And there has been a lot of back and forth since then. In June, a Biden-appointed judge blocked Khalil's initial deportation orders and ordered for his release from a detention center in Louisiana. Of course, this new order now could change things. Khalil's also sued the Trump administration and has said officials are targeting him. He's also called them fascists. In a statement regarding this new ruling, Khalil says, quote, "It is no surprise that the Trump administration continues to retaliate against me for my exercise of free speech. Their latest attempt through a kangaroo immigration court exposes their true colors once again." Now, Khalil's lawyers have until mid-October to file their appeal. They say they do plan to do so, and they framed this case as a broader civil rights battle.
And this is what I say: if you are applying for American citizenship or green card, you need to be straightforward. You need to write everything. You need to be truthful. If you don't do that, it will catch up with you. The judges cited that Khalil did not disclose his work with the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinians, refugee as well as pro-Palestinian student group at his university. Khalil and his legal team deny any wrongdoing, stating that his involvement was limited and that the deportation order is political motivated. I mean, if you did not write those things while applying for citizenship, what do you expect? It's going to come and hit you. Khalil lawyers are planning to appeal the decision. That's good. There is also a separate court ruling that currently protects him from immediate deportation or detention while related legal cases proceed. However, the outcome is uncertain and the case is ongoing. This case has sparked discussion around immigration law, free speech, and the rights of activists in the United States. As it develops, it will be important to watch how the legal system balances these complex issues. So, those are the stories making waves right now. What are your thoughts? Drop a comment below. Let's discuss respectfully. And if you found this video informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any updates. Thank you for watching and see you.